Hi, my name is Alex. I installed a subwoofer in my 2014 Subaru Forester XT. It has an existing Harman Kardon stereo system, but I wanted just a little bit more bass when it came to that, listening to my music. A couple of priorities. I wanted a high quality sound, and I didn't want to take away any of the storage space in the back. So as I was looking on YouTube, I came across a video by Chad S where he placed his 10-inch JL Audio enclosed subwoofer right above the spare underneath that platform. I used that video as inspiration, spent some time researching on how to do this, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to install it and then it was just going to blow up on me right when I turned it on, right? So I hope you learned something from this. Maybe it'll save you a little bit of time, or maybe just simply some reassurance that you can do this on your own too. Here are a few supplies that I got. I ordered this installation kit from Amazon. I didn't use a speaker wire. There was a video that they recommended using higher gauge wire, so I opted for this one off Amazon. Got this kind of coil over to cover up some wires. I have a 16 gauge blue, red, and I also got a black for running some wires off of the amp. I like to clean my trim pieces as I took them off. Electrical tape. This was a huge lifesaver. This is like a thicker gauge, kind of wire, almost like the consistency of a hanger, but a little bit stronger. These were from like s'more skewers for my kids. And then just some zip ties to kind of keep things in place. When it comes to the equipment, some things that were very helpful were definitely a headlamp, because there's some spaces that are darker even if you're outside. Multimeter, little utility blade, your wire strippers, crescent wrench, screwdriver, and then these are like the trim removal pieces. All right, so the first step, installing a power wire. Pretty simple, like many other videos, just tapping into that positive post, making sure to also not have your fuse in when you start your installation. Take that out and then put it back a little bit later. So to run the power wire, I actually just kind of follow the line where this hood latch is going wire, because it goes to the same grommet where you're gonna push the power line through. So I ran it that way and then connected it with the zip ties. Under the wheel well, there are a few of these plastic pieces you pop off, and you can pull back this plastic piece. And you look up, and towards that direction, not towards the door, but right up in here, you can see the grommet where you push your power line through. And then just ran it along the side here. This power cable just comes through this way, over here, down. I'll show you the other side into the amp. I ended up tapping these wires right on this side, and there's if you look up this model number for this amp and put the model number Harman Kardon and put the diagram wires, you'll find the diagram for this. I think it says WRX or something, but it's the same thing. And so over here is the harness where there's a sub 1 and sub 2, negative and positive for each one. So there's 4 wires on this harness that I tapped into. And then there's on the same harness, there's a ground wire right here. This black one is a ground. On this harness, this white, the top white on the right side, this is a 12 volt constant that I tapped into. And then on this one is the auxiliary one that goes to the remote in. So then from the conduit, it comes out the 4 wires that I tapped into, the remote in, the 12 volt, and the ground. And then to the way that I made sure to the length on these, like when I was doing like a rough in, like I kind of connected everything to make sure it was gonna work before I actually cut the final stuff. So there was probably at least another 6 inches of wire, 8 inches of wire here, and I tested everything before I finally came back, and then I shortened these wires to length and then tied them in and then taped up all this stuff. So that's the line in part. I left all this stuff. The only thing I changed on this one was a trigger mode. I put remote in. I'm thinking that that's correct because I put this remote out to the sub, and that's another wire that goes out this way, but it wires off back over this way, and then I tie it kind of in the same path as the power wire here. This is where the fishing line, little metal cable, came in to help out a lot. I did end up taking out the center console. There's 2 screws, 1, 2, and then you pop this thing off right here. There's also another screw right there, another one on the other side on the back part. And then on the front part, this section right here, you just pull on it a little bit and this will pop out pretty easy. This as well needs to come out too. So you pry this piece off and this piece off, and then you just lift up this section, and right under here there's 2 screws. The instructions for installing an amp and sub, it talks about not crossing the power line and RCA cables or having them run along together. So the RCAs from the line out converter, I came this direction and kind of like right here over and underneath this area. So they're not together, you know, they're more than a foot apart or so. And I just wanted to make sure that I was running them properly and they weren't going to get smashed by, you know, me lifting this up or maybe changing gears. So I wanted to see just to make sure that nothing was going to happen. So I ended up taking this out. And then while I took it out, I was like, hey, you know what? I got that out. You know, might as well just put this gain knob right here. So that's what I ended up doing. Tap this area because somebody that owned the car prior had a switch on here and it was a dead switch. There really wasn't anything, but there was that switch that did nothing. When I took off the switch, there was a big hole. So I decided just to go ahead and use this spot as the gain. And I drilled a little tiny hole right there for the light. And I thought it was going to be a light for distortion, but it's just a power light. It just stays on all the time. So RCAs right here, they come from that line out converter. There's the power and the ground and the remote in, and that's right. But from there, see how the ground wire, actually I just tapped into this one right here. If you lift this up, I kind of cut back a little bit on this carpet to expose this, and tapped in right there to cut a little bit of the carpet there. And this thing, it's not really secured or anything. I kind of just put it in between the AC vents that are right there, so there's no block in the AC air. And my speaker wires are connected right here, run under the carpet. So right here, and along the side. there's actually a pretty, if you lift up this panel right here and then open up the back, and if you take out all the styrofoam and everything, and there's a little piece right here that you scoot back, but if you look, there's a path that's right above like the body of the car, and or where the body of the car is, but there's some wires that are lifted up above it, and you can see straight down into that area. So I basically just ran my fish wire through there, and then I connected the radio wire on the other side, and then I just pulled it through. And I was kind of worried about the seat like clamping down on things and on the radio wire if that were to ever happen. But when I opened this up and I looked and I saw there's a straight shot right there, like there's nothing in the way, there's no other wires, and I just ran it through there, and then connected it here. So I wrapped everything up, and the cup there at the end was really just for dramatic effect. I wanted to see if I could show, through the video how intense the bass sound was. But this setup works really well for me because I was able to get a quality sound, and it's tucked away so I can use all of the cargo space that's back there in the car. As the days passed after finishing the install, I watched a few more videos, things about like tuning the voltage, the resistance of the ground wires, setting the gains to make sure that I wouldn't blow up the sub. On this Rockford Fosgate amp, on the pamphlet, it has some details of how to adjust the settings. So if you have this one, take a minute to read that. But I'm sure if you have another one, it has the same pamphlet. But depending on what type of music that you listen to, the size of the sub that you have, if you have it hidden or if it's exposed, these things might be different for you. A quick shout out and thank you to Chad S., Mark at Car Audio Fabrication, Steve at Me Designs, and Boost and Shutter Channel for all of the information and the videos that you guys provided. Let me know what you think. Is there anything that I did wrong that maybe I can still fix? If there are adjustments that I could make and will enhance the sounds, I'm open to suggestions on that. So thank you for watching.